My friends, we are living in prophetic times. The winds are shifting. The earth trembles not only with wars and rumors of wars, but with something deeper, a transformation. And among the greatest transformations of our age is this, the morphing of women. Yes, beloved, women are changing, but not in the way the world declares with its empty slogans. No, we are witnessing a divine metamorphosis, a returning, a rising, and a reclaiming. It is not a feminism of rebellion, but a feminine reawakening of purpose. The Spirit is stirring, and the daughters of Zion are no longer asleep. The time of morphing is here. In the beginning, in the garden, God created the woman not as an afterthought, not as a lesser being, but as the completion of creation. She was fashioned with intention, carved from the side of man, not from his head to rule over him, nor from his feet to be trampled upon, but from his rib, close to his heart, to be loved, honored, and walked with. She was the crown of creation, the final stroke in the artistry of Eden. And yet, it was in that very place of perfection that the great distortion began. The serpent, cunning and ancient, did not approach Adam, though he was present. No, he came to the woman not because she was weak, but because he knew that within her was influence, nurturing power, the capacity to birth nations. If he could twist her identity, he could fracture the foundation of humanity. And so he planted the lie. Did God really say? With that seed of doubt, the enemy distorted what God had made beautiful. The woman fell, but hear this, she did not fall alone, humanity fell with her. And yet, even in the midst of judgment, God whispered the first prophecy of redemption. The seed of the woman will crush the head of the serpent. From the very beginning, the woman was not just part of the fall. She was central to the redemption. She carried within her not just the burden of pain, but the promise of victory. This is where the morphing begins, not with strength, but with surrender, not with pride, but with restoration. The woman begins to rise, not in rebellion against God, but in return to Him. We journey forward, past the shadows of the garden, to the courts of Persia, where a Jewish girl named Hadassah, known to the world as Esther, is raised from obscurity to royalty. Here is a woman who could have remained silent, who could have hidden in the comfort of the palace while her people perished. But identity called to her. Destiny summoned her to rise. Her cousin Mordecai's words echoed like thunder. Who knows but that you have come to the kingdom for such a time as this? And in that moment the morphing was complete. She who was hidden became the herald. She who was veiled became the voice. She who was afraid became the answer. From Eve to Esther, we see a journey not just of women in history, but of the feminine soul in all its struggles, from deception to destiny, from shame to sovereignty, from fear to fearless intercession. This is what the Spirit of God is doing in women today. He is restoring identity not as defined by culture, not by broken relationships, not by expectations or rejections, but by heaven's decree. Woman, your worth is not in what the world labels you. It is in the fact that God formed you, knows you, and calls you by name. You are not Eve trapped in shame, you are Esther standing in boldness. You are not defined by your past mistakes, you are marked by the promises of your King. You are not a footnote in the story, you are a key chapter in the unfolding of His glory. This is the morphing, the lifting of the veil, the redeeming of the name, the restoration of divine identity. The enemy tried to steal it in Eden, but the King is restoring it in this hour. The time has come for the daughters to rise not in reaction, but in revelation. You are not who the world says you are. You are who heaven has always known you to be. And your time is now. There has been, across centuries and civilizations, a quieting of the woman's voice, sometimes subtle, sometimes severe. In temples and in town squares, behind closed doors and beneath systems cloaked in tradition, the voice of the woman was hushed. not because it lacked wisdom, not because it lacked power, but precisely because it carried both. The enemy knew that if he could silence her, he could smother revelation, mute intercession, and delay destiny. From the beginning, that voice was meant to shape worlds. In the home, it was meant to nurture. In the streets, to declare justice. In the temple, to prophesy. But for generations, that holy, feminine sound was drowned beneath fear, shame, and control. Her songs were stolen, her stories buried, her cries deemed inconvenient, emotional, or excessive. And in this muting, the world became imbalanced, the harmony of creation became dissonant, half of the sound of heaven on earth had gone quiet, but the silence was never meant to last. God is the God who breaks silence. He speaks into voids, he thunders in the stillness, and when he moves, he brings voice to the voiceless. He called Moses from the backside of the desert. He called Samuel from the silence of night, and he is calling his daughters now from silence to song. The woman's voice is returning not as an echo of culture, but as an instrument of heaven. We see it in Deborah, a prophetess and a judge, who not only led armies but sang the song of the Lord. Her voice rallied a nation. Her words awakened warriors. She was not an exception, she was a blueprint. God never designed silence for his daughters. He designed sound, pure, prophetic sound. We see it again in Hannah, who wept in the temple, misunderstood by the priest, dismissed in her desperation, yet her whispered prayers shaped history. Out of her groaning came Samuel, the prophet who anointed kings. Her pain became power. Her prayer became proclamation, and when God answered, she did not remain silent, she sang. Her voice rose, and in her song she glorified the God who lifts the lowly and brings the barren to birth. And then there was Mary Young, unseen by the world but chosen by God. When the angel declared her purpose, she did not retreat in fear. She embraced her calling and lifted her voice in praise. Her magnific, it was more than a hymn. It was a declaration of revolution. She sang of the God who scatters the proud, exalts the humble, and fills the hungry. The mother of Christ prophesied with melody, and heaven listened. The restoration of the woman's voice is not about volume, it is about asterisk truth. It is not a cry of rebellion, but a asterisk song of redemption asterisk. This voice does not compete, it completes. It does not destroy, it builds. It does not strive to be heard above men, it speaks alongside them in divine harmony. Woman, your voice was never meant to be hidden. Your thoughts, your prayers, your declarations, they carry the DNA of breakthrough. When you speak, shackles fall. When you sing, atmospheres shift. When you declare truth, lies are dismantled. The morphing is happening. You are rising not just to speak, but to sing, not just to echo, but to originate, not just to be heard, but to release heaven through your voice. So open your mouth, sing the song he placed in you before you were formed. Speak the truth you were born to carry. Shout when needed, whisper when led, but never again believe the lie that your voice doesn't matter. It does, it always has. The world needs the full sound of creation, and it is incomplete without you. There is a sacred mystery in the heart of every woman, the ability to carry life, to nurture it, to protect it, to bring it forth. But this mystery is not limited to the physical. It is spiritual, it is prophetic, it is eternal. A woman may carry a child in her womb, yes, but she can also carry a vision, a calling, a ministry, a movement. She is not only a vessel of life, but a vessel of destiny. And yet this calling does not come without pain. Too often, before birthing comes brokenness. The woman walks through fire, betrayal, abandonment, rejection, abuse, loss, disappointment. Her heart breaks in ways no one sees. Her tears fall behind closed doors. She smiles in public, but bleeds in private. Her dreams are delayed, her voice dismissed, her strength tested. but what the enemy meant to destroy her, God uses to shape her. Because in the kingdom, brokenness is not the end, it is the beginning of birthing. Look at Hannah, bowed low in the temple, her voice choked with sorrow. She was misunderstood, judged even by the priest, yet God heard the prayer she could barely whisper. Out of that barren place came Samuel, prophet, priest, king, maker. Her pain birthed purpose. Her tears watered the soil of legacy. Look at Ruth, a widow, a foreigner, grieving in a land not her own. She had lost everything, yet she clung to Naomi and to the God of Israel. She humbled herself, served, waited, and walked the road of uncertainty. But from her lineage came David, and from David came the Messiah. Out of her mourning came majesty, out of her loyalty came legacy. Look at Tamar, Rahab, Bathsheba, Mary, women with complicated stories, women who the world would overlook or shame, and yet they were all named in the genealogy of Jesus. Broken stories, redeemed by God, woven into the eternal tapestry of His plan, not despite their brokenness, but through it. This is the morphing, not from strength to strength, but from wounding to womb, from scars to songs, from what tried to break you into what God will use to birth through you. You may be in the middle of your pain right now. You may be asking why. You may feel forgotten, invisible, used up. But heaven sees you, and heaven is not finished with you. The place where you thought it was over, that's the very place where something new is being conceived. Because when God births legacy, He often chooses the barren. When He births movements, He often chooses the misfits. When He births miracles, He often chooses the wounded. You are not disqualified by your pain, you are prepared by it, . The breaking of your heart has made room for a greater compassion. The shattering of your plans has cleared the way for His. The silence of your waiting has deepened your faith, and now the season is shifting. The contractions have begun. It is time to push. You are not just birthing for yourself. You are birthing for the generation behind you. Your obedience today is laying a path for daughters and granddaughters you may never meet. Your yes to God is echoing into futures you cannot yet see. You are not just living a life, you are leaving a legacy. This is the rise not of perfection, but of purpose, not of performance, but of presence. Not of status, but of spiritual inheritance. So rise, woman of God, stand tall in your scars. Let your past no longer be your prison, but your platform. Lift your head, for the King calls you not broken, but chosen. Not barren, but birther, and the legacy within you, it is holy, it is rising, it is ready. So rise, daughters of the Most High, the morphing is upon you. Shed the lies of the world like old skin. Break the chains of silence. Wash off the names they gave you. Step into the names God has spoken. Beloved, mighty, chosen, called, free. This is not evolution, this is revolution. This is not rebellion, this is restoration. This is not feminism, this is fulfillment. The world awaits the fullness of your fire. Heaven watches, hell trembles. You are not becoming what the world says. You are becoming what heaven always knew. The morphing of women is not coming, it is now. Let it be done.